Oh, hello, this is going to be your boy Gomi, looking at the final of the fight night of all of June, basically, which all of June felt like one big old fight night extravaganza. We have one more. This one is much of the same ilk as the other cards in June before we get to the real good stuff in July, but at least it has a very captivating main matchup in UFC Fight Night, Josh Emmett versus Illia Topuria. This is an exciting matchup, one I am very much interested in, and oh man, it should be an absolute banger. Absolutely. But while we're here, why don't we look at some of the other fights in the card before breaking down the main card? Emmett versus Topuria. Boop, 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 boop. So, first fight on the card, going rather briefly, Cody Brundage versus Sadikas Dumas. I've tried so hard. In fact, actually, that's not even the first fight on my list. Cody Brundage is way lower. That's bizarre that it's that low, but I'm going with Brundage by decision. Basically, not really much to say on this. It's a little bit short notice of fight, but I like the experience from Brundage more, even though Dumas is a little bit more of a prospect. Both are coming off a loss. I'm just gonna lean towards the experience of Brundage. Tatsuo Taraya versus Cleedson Rodriguez. This is criminal that it is, per my notes, this is the fight opening up the card. That's kind of criminal. The UFC does not like flyweights. This guy is an undefeated prospect coming out of Japan, which does not have a lot of prospects. He is a furious and terrifying grappler. This is going to be an easy win for Taira, and I really feel like we should have put more highlight on that. Jamal Emmers versus Jack Jenkins. I know Jack Jenkins, he was a big prospect, but I just like the experience. Again, experience over Jamal Emmers. I feel like he's going to take this. I'm going to go up by decision. I do not think he'll be able to knock out Jack Jenkins. Trevor Peek versus Victor Martinez. This fight was swapped actually from my notes. Previously, I was going to go against Mariscal against Peek, but in this matchup, I'm actually going to be going with Trevor Peek. I don't know when this was switched. Only thing is, I will say the one thing I don't like about Trevor Peek, while he is undefeated, he's a little too wild, a little too chaotic. I feel that, honestly, if you could just really slow things down with him, you could pick him apart and catch him with something bad. Zumagulov, he's actually going to be fighting a replacement. He was supposed to fight last week. His opponent dropped out. I feel Zumagulov is going to finally get his first win in the UFC. He keeps getting robbed on decisions, hence why he changed his hair to Patty's haircut. Hoping it'll prevent him from getting robbed in decision by being the one to rob, I guess. He's going to beat... I don't think he's 0-0. I'm pretty sure he has a record. I'll be honest with you, this is a super short notice replacement. I'm not familiar with Joshua Van at all. Let me just see if I can look him up. He's 7-1. He's 7-1. Looking him up. Tapology. Yeah. UFC debut for him. Don't like it. Zumagulov's pretty decent. He got robbed his last 2 fights, I'll be honest with you. Tabitha Ritchie versus Jillian Robertson. This is a peculiar fight, to be perfectly honest with you. Tabitha Ritchie was out for quite some time. So people are saying she was absolutely going to be a champion, future prospect. She was out for a long time, came back, had a very dominant win. Jillian Anderson's going to be a lot more of a veteran. Again, veteran versus prospect, basically. She's been around. She's been through the ringer with a lot of her fights, but I'm going to be leaning towards Tabitha Ritchie. I like her grappling better than Jillian Robertson, even though Jillian Robertson's probably going to be the bigger person in this matchup. She's taller. She's probably going to come in heavier. I'm still going to lean towards Tabitha Ritchie, to be honest with you, just because I like her skill set better. Mateusz Rebecki versus Loic Radzhabov. I do not go with my fellow Polskis, to be honest with you, in almost each cases. I usually tend to go with the OVs just due to their grappling advantage. Mateusz has solid, decent grappling, but his main priority is going to be striking. I'm going to lean with Loic. I haven't seen enough of Mateusz because, again, he's barely been in the UFC per example. Like, he has only had, I believe it's 2 fights, if I remember correctly. It's only 1 fight, forgive me. So yeah, I haven't seen enough of him to really like say, oh, I think he could take it. But also we haven't seen a lot of Loic as well too. I'm going to be leaning towards Loic. Randy Brown versus Wellington Turman. Why is this on the prelims? This should not be on the prelims. I'm going to be going Randy Brown by KO. I feel he's just going to be too much for Wellington. Wellington ain't all that. I know Wellington's coming off, Randy Brown is coming off a very devastating loss to Jack Della Maddalena, where he was basically knocked out, came to, and then submitted. But yeah, I still think he's a cut above Wellington Turman, to be honest with you. Neil Magny, why are you on the prelims? Why is... Okay, whatever the case is, I think he'll beat Phil Rowe. I like... Magny's very basic. He really just has like a really good jab, and that's pretty much his bread and butter. But Phil Rowe is just really long and has really good kicks. Despite being very long, I'm not a big fan of his jab, to be honest with you. It's just insane for how much of a reach advantage you have over most guys. In fact, even having a reach advantage over Magny, you should have better jab than that, but he does not. Main card, Brendan Allen versus Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is going to be fighting for rank. I feel Brendan Allen's a perfect guy against it. Brendan Allen's going to have some solid grappling. He's worked on that a lot as well, too, in his last couple fights against Bruno Silva, who's predominantly a striker. But the thing is, Bruno Silva went head-to-head and was not knocked out by Alex Pereira. Submitted by GM3, but then knocked out Tavares. I just think that Bruno Silva has the power and has the skills needed to take out Brendan Allen. I don't think Brendan Allen's the same level grappler as GM3. So I'm going to be going with Bruno Silva, actually. I'm only with the underdog in this case. Then, for the next fight, featherweight bout between David Onama versus Gabriel Santos. Again, that fight should not be in the main card over Magny and Rowe. But I don't know about this matchup. David Onama is extremely tough. He's extremely tough, and he's powerful, but he wasn't able to take out Nate the Train. And Nate the Train was actually able to take him out. Well, not take him out, but he was able to beat him in a decision. Rocked him really badly a few times. Gabriel Santos has some really good power to him. So I want to lean towards him, but it's very hard. I could see Onama by TKO, or I could see Santos by decision. It's a 50-50. Austin Lane versus Justin Tafa. Big boys, throw down. I'm going to be going with the Samoan power of Justin Tafa, and I'm going to be saying round 1 knockout. Amanda Ribas versus Macy Barber. Weird choice for a co-main. I've always liked Macy Barber. I just don't like her striking. I think it's very poor. Amanda Ribas is not that much. No, it's better. It's definitely a great deal better. I do think Macy Barber has maybe a little bit better grappling, but neither one is really significantly pulling away from each other in any skill department. So I think this will be a fight in the women's flyweight division. And we'll be going into the main event. The main reason why, like I said, it's going to be on an ABC. This is going to be the main event. A truly explosive matchup between Josh Emmett and Illia Topuria. A featherweight matchup, Josh Emmett being 38 years of age. 18 wins, 3 losses, 6 knockouts, 2 submissions, 5'6" in terms of height. Surprise, he's actually shorter than Illia. Orthodox stance, 70-inch reach advantage, a 1.07 takedown average, a 39.39 significant strike accuracy, with being a plus 260 underdog. Significant wins over Calvin Kattar, Michael Johnson, Dan Ige, and Shane Burgos. Illia Topuria is going to be 26 years of age, 13 wins, not a damn loss. 4 knockouts, 8 submissions, 5'7" in terms of height. Orthodox stance, 69-inch reach, disadvantage, a 2.45 takedown average, 53.27% significant strike accuracy, a minus 335 favorite, with significant wins over Bryce Mitchell, Jai Herbert, Ryan Hall, and Damon Jackson. As you all know, I'm high on Illia. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've said this many times. I'll say this infinite number of times. Illia Topuria, I always find he's a douchebag. He's kind of a jerk. Like, everything he says on Twitter, everything he says anywhere. It's just comes off as like, man, this guy's kind of a jerk. But I don't care. I'm a huge fan because he's an amazing fighter. Like, as long as you're not like a POS human being, which Illia Topuria is not, he's just a jerk, I'm cool with it. As long as you're a great fighter, and he is a great fighter. Josh Emmett is explosive. He's got power, but I don't know. I don't like this matchup against Illia. I think Illia, this is his I'm him moment, to be honest with you. But don't make it get twisted that Josh Emmett can't win, and don't get twisted, he won't even have like moments in the fight. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a wash. In fact, the fight might end round 1, but even if it does, like, it's not like it's gonna be round 1 domination Illia. Like, Josh Emmett will absolutely put up a fight. So some key avenues for Josh Emmett is I feel he has a power advantage. Illia can crack though. Emmett only has a slight power advantage, but most of that comes over from his big overhand right. His big swinging overhand right can absolutely murder, absolutely annihilate people and leave them in a near comatose statement. Ask Mr. Coin Flip himself. Josh Emmett has a lot of power into him, but that's really it. I feel technique and boxing avenues, Illia Topuria is going to beat him out in each of those aspects. I do feel Josh Emmett's very tough. He could definitely take some shots. It's very hard to take him out. Yair was throwing full power, everything he possibly had at Josh Emmett, and he was not able to take him out. He eventually had to submit him. In terms of KOing Josh Emmett, you have to be Jeremy Stephens, who, as much as we want to crap on Jeremy Stephens has power. Illia, I feel, might even have that power, because look at this. Illia Topuria fought against Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert is not only a lightweight, he's a massive lightweight. He's a massive lightweight that could maybe pass over for a welterweight. The thing is, I don't feel like Jai Herbert has the power of a welterweight, to be honest with you, but he still is definitely stronger than pretty much most of the featherweight division. He's a strong lightweight, and Illia Topuria was able to knock him out and take his best shot. I do feel Illia can get rocked and he can get dropped, honestly, by Emmett, and I feel like that's very likely, but I think he'll come back. He's shown great recovery. He has great wrestling as well, too. People seem to forget and have this image of, well, I know why they have this image. Guy just knocks out people left and right. But there's always this image of Illia's just being an exclusive striker, a pure boxer, when in actuality, he came into the UFC, like before he came to UFC, he was a grappler. He was a grappler and a grappling background, and he has, as you see, 8 wins by submission. He came into UFC with 7 wins by submission. Only win he picked up in UFC by submission is actually going to be against Bryce Mitchell, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with only submission wins, which is pretty insane. Not only submission wins. Actually, I think he knocked out Barbeau. No decision. Yeah, he's only got submission wins. That's very insane, to be perfectly honest with you. I do feel a problem from Illia that he's not covered up yet, but keep in mind, he's like working his way up the ranks. He's not like there yet, but he's gonna be there. One issue he has in his almost near flawless game is he overswings, because he really throws a lot of power and knocks you out. Also, overswing is not a problem with him because he's fine with going to the ground. A lot of people criticize his overswing against Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell takes him to the ground. Oh well. Like, Illia Topuria, I felt, was superior in terms of wrestling than Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell had better jiu-jitsu, but Illia Topuria, as we saw, was the better pure wrestler. Emmett's not out wrestling Illia Topuria, so he could swing away no problem without having to worry about takedowns. What Illia has to worry about, though, is if he overswings, Emmett counters with a big shot, it can definitely take out Topuria. It could definitely take him out. It could rock him. Who knows? I do feel, though, overall, Illia Topuria has more advantages, and I think he'll win. He has a better wrestling advantage, he has a better striking advantage, and he's only a little bit behind in power. Because, again, he knocked out a big lightweight in the form of Jai Herbert. I don't feel Josh Emmett is significantly over him in power. Josh Emmett is probably the hardest hitter at featherweight, but then I would more than likely rank Illia as a close second. So, everything's going to point to Illia. I like the odds in this. I agree with this. It's just that it's hard to kind of like bet on Topuria. He's such a heavy favorite, but I bet him by finish. I do want to bet by knockout with Illia because I feel his better technique and slightly less power will be able to catch Emmett. But like I said, Emmett's a hard guy to take out. But Illia absolutely could take him down and submit him. Not even close. Absolutely could take him down and submit him. We just saw Josh Emmett lost his last fight via submission to Yair Rodriguez. And Yair Rodriguez, I would still classify overall as a striker. He has had... How many submissions has he had in the UFC? He's only had one other one. No. Doesn't even look like he's had another submission. Yeah. Yeah, no, that doesn't bode well for Emmett, to be honest with you. But overall, such a good fight. This is such a good fight, and I feel it's going to be explosive and dynamic. It's probably going to go short. It's probably not going to go past 3 rounds, to be honest with you. I would be surprised if it makes out the second round with how powerful these guys are. But I'm going to go Illia Topuria. I'm going to lean towards, if you're going to bet on this, bet him by finish. And if you really want to be cheeky, I lean more towards submission than I would knockout, to be perfectly honest with you. But it could go either way. And honestly, Emmett is by KO is not a bad pick. I don't think he's gonna last against Illia Topuria. I don't think he'll go all 5. I don't think he'll go all 5. If it goes somehow magically all 5, no, there's no way. I don't see it go either way. I feel like no matter what, one of these guys is gonna get finished. If you're picking Emmett, you're gonna have to pick knockout, and that is possible, especially as an underdog pick. That'd be a nice payout. But I'm going to be going with Illia Topuria by finish. And I think Illia Topuria is going to be one fight away from a title shot. Maybe even they'll give him a title shot. But I think he'll be one shot away. Probably him versus Max Holloway. But I don't know if I want them to feed another featherweight contender to Max Holloway. I kind of want them to skeeter by. I really want them to skeeter by Max Holloway, to be honest with you. I know Illia Topuria probably thinks he can take him out, and he has a chance against Max, but I'd rather say he wins this fight against Josh Emmett. Look towards Ortega or Allen. Hell, Calvin Kattar, maybe. No, because he'd be fighting down after Emmett. Yeah, I would definitely want him to look towards Ortega or Allen, to be honest with you, and then beats one of them, gives them a title shot. Emmett wins this fight, it's going to be a little bit more of a road back for him to get a title shot, to be honest with you, just due to the age. UFC is not really going to be focusing on prioritizing 38-year-old, and I never thought he was super elite level caliber, to be honest with you. Like, I didn't think him and Yair should have been fighting for a belt at all. It should have just been a number 1 contender spot, because again, I think his win against Calvin Kattar is very sus. I think Arnold Allen could take him out. Ortega is kind of iffy. We don't know how he is with his injury, but Holloway, Yair, and Volkanovski, well, yeah, of course beat him, but Holloway and Volkanovski beat him, and no problem. So I don't know how they feel about campaigning him for a title shot. Overall, this should be a fun fight. This has been your boy Gomi. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Bye-bye.